What's up, guys? Welcome to the Two Wheel Rider YouTube channel. My name is Mario Orsini, and welcome to the third video of the Alaska motorcycle trip debrief series. If you're only going to watch, we'll say 2 videos, I would suggest this one because I'm going to go into great detail about quite a few things. And if you have a 1290 Super Adventure, I would suggest the bike debrief video, but if you don't, maybe watch the final video of the series, which is the one that goes over the gear I covered and brought along, because you want to keep your bike running on a long trip. But I think you guys are in store for a pretty good video today. So in today's video, I'm going to go over my route that I took on the trip. I'm going to talk about some of the hotels, some of the restaurants, and I'm not going to go line by line, but I'm going to provide you guys with a line by line, item by item, penny by penny cost of my entire trip. But first off, I want to get started with my route. Now, if you'd like to follow along, there is a link down in the description below, which is going to take you to a file on my Google Drive called Alaska Files. On there, you are going to find an exact route of my trip that you can follow along on Google Maps. You're also going to find an Excel spreadsheet that breaks down line by line item cost. You'll find a write-up on all the hotels I stayed in and a write-up on some of the restaurants that I ate at along the way. Not every single one of them, because some of them are places like McDonald's, and McDonald's is McDonald's. But some of the more local places or some of the more regional places. So if you want to click on that link to kind of follow along, it's probably not a bad idea. So to begin with, you see I have my notes and I have my laptop here because I'm going to have to refer back to it. You may or may not be able to see the laptop, but I'm going to have to refer to these 2 things as I'm going through. So if you see me looking down or looking over to the side, that's the reason. So starting with day 1, I left from Bunker Hill, West Virginia. I rode all the way to Crawfordsville, Indiana, which the route I took was right around 600 miles. I stayed at a Super 8 that night, nothing to write home about, but no problems with the hotel, and it was a very fair price. And right down the road from there was a pretty good restaurant that you can read more about in the file link that you have available. The next day I rode to Omaha, Nebraska. I stayed at La Quinta, rode 619 miles that day. The La Quinta, maybe not as nice as some other La Quintas I stayed at, but no real complaints, and there were a few restaurants within walking distance. The next day I rode to Deadwood, which was 557 miles. I stayed at Hotel by Gold Dust. This is the 3rd year in a row I've stayed there, which should tell you something. I like that hotel. It's a great location right there downtown. There's plenty of good places to eat. I recommend the Gym if you like steak. You can go in there for about 25 bucks and get yourself one hell of a meal. The following day I rode to Great Falls, Montana. I was back at the Super 8 again. 525 miles covered that day. You know, nothing special. It's a Super 8, but again, the price was fair. The following day I rode to Calgary, which is in Alberta, Canada. I stayed at a Sandman Hotel. I covered 414 miles. The Sandman Hotel, I'd never stayed at one of those before, but I did stay at least one more during the course of the trip. Very, very nice hotel, reasonable price. If you get the opportunity to stay at one of those up in Canada, highly recommend it. After that, I rode to Grand Prairie, also in Alberta, covered 530 miles, stayed at another Super 8. Price was a little high on that place, but all the hotels in Grand Prairie that night were a little high, so I can't really complain. It was actually really, really nice for a Super 8. Location was There weren't a whole lot of places you could walk to for dinner, but places weren't too far down the road. The next night, I rode up to Muncho Lake in British Columbia. I stayed at Northern Rockies Lodge. Super nice place. Read up about that. Covered 547 miles. The following day, I rode to Whitehorse, which is in the Yukon. 453 miles, stayed at a Days Inn. That place was a little sketch. Read my comments on it. The following day, I rode 610 miles to Fairbanks, Alaska. I stayed at a hotel called Westmark. I think it was Westmark Hotel and Suites, or Westmark Hotel and Conference Center. Despite what the reviews say online, super nice hotel. There were 2 restaurants available in there. I only ate at one of them. It was very good. I have no complaints about it. In fact, I stayed there again the next night. Only covered 180 miles that day because I rode up to the start of the Dalton Highway and back. The 11th day of the trip, I rode back to Whitehorse. This time, I also stayed at a Westmark. Not as nice as the one in Fairbanks. Still not a bad hotel. Decent restaurant downstairs. But they do not have permanent air conditioning in there. They only have a portable air conditioner. And if I'm being honest, that room was hot until about 4 a.m. I covered, again, well, 607 miles, 610 miles, whatever. It was right around 600 miles that day. The next day, I rode to Fort Nelson in British Columbia, stayed at a Motel 6. First time I'd stayed at a Motel 6 in 29 years. I covered a total of 609 miles that day. If you are through Fort Nelson, there's not a whole lot of options of places to stay hotel-wise there. That Motel 6 has been recently renovated. Very, very nice hotel. Right next door is a Boston Pizza. If you're from Canada, you've probably been to Boston Pizzas. Supposedly there are some in the U.S. I've never seen one nor been to one. The food was good. It was fairly priced, and it's walking distance, so why not? Next day, I rode to Whitecourt in Alberta, 545 miles, stayed at a Days Inn. Days Inn was very nice. Location was okay. You had to ride somewhere to get something to eat. There was a gas station next door, but plan on riding anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes to find something to eat there. Hotel staff, very, very friendly. The next day, I rode to Saskatoon, which is in Saskatchewan. Covered 454 miles, stayed at another Sandman. Downstairs, first off, there's a liquor store across the street. On the other side of the street, there was a gas station, so great location. Right inside the hotel, there's a Denny's. I got breakfast there the next morning, but that night, I ate at a place called the Shark Lounge, which is like a bar lounge area. Waitresses, you guys are going to like the waitresses. But I sat up at the bar, so I was waited on by the bartenders. Plenty of drink selection, very, very good food, and pretty cool atmosphere. Day 15, I rode to Winnipeg. I stayed at a Hampton Inn that night, covered 506 miles. The Hampton Inn, nice hotel. They're always very, very consistent. They're never like the upper echelon, but they're always consistent. They're always nice. It's probably the best night's sleep I got the entire trip was staying there. Within 5 minutes ride time, there's all kinds of places to eat. Day 16, I rode to Thunder Bay, Ontario, stayed at Hampton Inn again that night, covered 469 miles. Not much to write home about. Again, location of it wasn't bad, but you're going to have to ride a couple miles to find something to eat. Day 17, covered 457 miles, went to, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. The hotel was nice. The location was... It was nice because you were right along the St. Mary's River and you could see the bridge going over to Michigan. The only issue with it was I think I would have rather stayed on the main stretch where there were more restaurants within walking distance because of where I stayed, which was right next to the convention center. I did have, I don't know, maybe a 5-6 minute ride to go get something to eat. So just look into the location if you're going to stay in that area. You may want to stay close to the river if that's something you want to check out. Otherwise, you might want to stay up on the main stretch to be a little bit closer to food, shopping, stuff like that. Day 18, I rode to Shelburne, Ontario. I was going to take the ferry that day, but the times just didn't work out, so I ended up riding all the way around the lakes there. I covered 422 miles. I stayed at John's house that night. It was a really fair price because it didn't cost me anything, nor did dinner. But you might want to check with John before booking a room there. And then on the final day, I rode all the way back to home. I came through Buffalo. I covered 501 miles. Again, if you'd like to see the exact route that I took, the exact map, I'm not necessarily recommending it. I'm just saying this is the route I took. And if you're interested in staying in any of those places and reading my thoughts about the hotels, restaurants, and stuff along the way, you do have a link down in the description below. Be sure to check out that information. It goes into far more detail than what I'm going to go into in today's video. Alright, so in the second part of the video, I'm going to discuss the cost. I'm not going to break it down line by line because I've provided you line by line in the spreadsheet, but I do want to break down a few things. So when it comes to cost, the overall cost of the trip for me, this was from the time I left the house until I got back home. This doesn't count things I had to do to the bike before I left or things I had to do to the bike after I returned, but it does include things I had to do to the bike during the trip. So total cost, and this is in American dollars, $3,740.42. To break that down a little bit further, fuel costs were $907.38. Food was $663.48. Miscellaneous, which was just like random things, liquor, stuff like that, if I bought it at a liquor store, or I don't know, medicine, whatever, just like random things you'd pick up. $38.65. Hotel costs for the biggest, that came out to $1,483.75. Souvenirs, which were 90% Starbucks mugs for Kristen, $94.38. Tires, I need a new set of tires on the trip, which I'll discuss in more detail in my bike debrief video, $505.34. And finally, entry fees came out to $47.44. Those were for things like national parks and museums, stuff like that I visited along the way. So when you break that out percentage-wise, hotels come out to the biggest cost at 39.7%, followed by gas, which was 24.3%. Next coming in was food, 17.7%. Tires made up 13.5%. And then souvenirs were 2.5%. Entry fees 1.3%, and miscellaneous 1%. So I want to break this down a little bit more for you on a daily average. So fuel averaged out to $47.75 per day. Food averaged out to $34.92 per day. Miscellaneous was right around $2. Souvenirs came out to $4.96. Tires, we're not going to average those out. Entry fees came out to $2.49. I'm going to touch on hotels in just a minute. My daily average spent was $196.86. I broke hotels down a few different ways. The first way I broke it down was for each of the nights averaged out. And of course, I got to stay at John's house for free one night, so this includes the free night at his place. Because I used my Hotels.com app and I was able to save on hotel nights 2 nights, including that, it came out to $82.43 a night. If I don't include that, it comes out to $87.28 a night. If I drop the free night at John's and divide everything by 17 nights, again, including my Hotels.com rewards, it came out to $92.98 a night. And if I don't include that, it comes out to $98.45 a night in lodging. Another thing you'll find on the spreadsheet are the fuel cost averaged out by country. I broke it down to US costs versus Canadian costs. Keep in mind, my fuel costs may be higher than yours because my bike calls for 91 octane or above, and all but maybe 1 or 2 fill-ups I was able to get that. There were a couple that 87 or 89 was available. But my average fuel cost per gallon in the United States was $3.43. My average fuel cost per gallon in Canada was $4.59, meaning fuel in Canada cost approximately 33% more than it did in the United States. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're going to be traveling through Canada. All right, so I hope you guys check out the Google Drive files I put in there for you, because it's going to provide far more detail than I'm providing just in tonight's video. But I want to hit a couple more highlights along the way. You can read my write-up on every single hotel, cost, location, what I thought about it, things of that nature. You can also read my write-up on most of the restaurants I ate at, but I wanted to touch on a few of them. One of them I already mentioned, the Jim Steakhouse in Deadwood. I've eaten there the last 2 years in a row, and I highly recommend it. It's a great meal at a great price and a pretty damn cool atmosphere because it's up on the 2nd floor and you can overlook the downtown, old town Deadwood area. I really love eating there. Another place that stood out was, I hope I don't mispronounce this, Caruso Steakhouse in Jasper. I ate a late lunch there. I did not get the opportunity to eat dinner there, and they do have separate menus for dinner and lunch. But the service was great, the food was excellent, and the value was very, very fair, meaning you're getting what you pay for. Another place that kind of surprised me was in Saskatoon. There's a place called the Shark Club, which was down in the bottom of the Sandman Hotel I stayed at. I mentioned it earlier. Food was very good. It was fairly priced. Huge drink selection there, very good service, and just a really cool atmosphere. And if you're staying there at the hotel, there's no reason to leave. You can always stumble back up to your room. Another thing I want to touch on is Boston Pizza. Again, those of you guys that live in Canada, you're probably used to Boston pizzas because there's a lot of them. But in the United States, I've never seen one before. So if you're not real sure where you're going to eat that night, maybe you don't want to roll the dice on a local place, Boston Pizza is worth checking out. It's not just a pizza place like the name sounds. They also have pasta there. They have sandwiches there. It's a pretty cool place to eat. The prices are really good, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed with what you get for your money. And then finally, Listen, we have Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts in the United States. That's what we're known for. I don't drink coffee, so I don't really care for Starbucks. I do enjoy myself some Dunkin' Donuts from time to time, but you Canadians, you guys got it made with Tim Hortons. That place is awesome. I stopped at a couple of those along the way. Great donuts, great breakfast sandwiches. It's always packed. And whenever you see a restaurant that's packed, you know it's a good place. So I absolutely love Tim Hortons. We do have a few of those in the United States. Most of them are a little bit further north. We don't have any near me. But if you're looking for, something for breakfast or whatever, stop at Tim Hortons. The place is awesome. So anyway, once again, please click the link down in the description below to get all the facts, all the details about everything I went over tonight. There is a file in there with the map. There's a file in there with a line-by-line item breakdown of my exact cost down to the penny. I have converted everything to US dollars, and I have converted at least the fuel over to gallons. If you need to convert it back, well, good luck with that. You can do it if you need it in liters or Canadian dollars or whatever you need to do. I have put I don't know how many pages it is, but a multiple page write-up of all the hotels and my thoughts and the locations and their contact information and stuff like that. I've also done that for quite a few restaurants. Like I said earlier, I didn't do it for every restaurant because some of them are just your normal fast food places that you have everywhere. So anyway, I hope you guys get a lot of information out of the files I provided. I hope you get a lot of information out of the video that you just watched today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider hitting that subscribe button, because if you like motorcycles, well, this is the place to be. If you have any additional questions, please read through the files first that are available on the computer. But if you have any additional questions after that, let me know down in the comments section below. And as always, I'll talk to you again soon.